Hello folks, this is Soapbox here. Today we're going to take a look at the NS-30 Vandal, a common pool scout rifle for the Infiltrator class. To buy the Vandal, it will cost you 1,000 certs or 700 station cash. If you choose to buy it with station cash, it will be unlocked for every character on your account. This makes buying it with station cash a very viable option if you plan on using it on multiple accounts. The Vandal will do 334 damage out to 15 meters, which is the standard max damage and range for all the faction-specific semi-automatic scout rifles. The damage profile will then drop off to 280 damage out 75 meters. Again, this is a standard drop-off for all semi-auto scout rifles. Assuming all shots land on the body, then it will be a 3-shot kill up to 16 meters. And now at 75 meters or beyond, it will take 3.6 shots to kill your target. So if you are shooting at a target that's 75 meters away and they are already injured, you can take them out 3 shots. But if they have full health and shields, then expect to take 4 shots to kill them. This makes the Vandal very interesting, as the shots you need to kill an enemy is roughly the same no matter what the range. Now, if we factor headshots into the equation, we get a much different shots to kill model. Up to 15 meters, it will take 1 headshot and 1 body shot to kill any type of infantry, assuming they don't have nano weave or heavy shields. If the target is an infiltrator, you can kill them with 1 headshot and 1 body shot up to 52 meters, assuming they don't have nano weave. This makes an extremely deadly weapon when used against infiltrators, as you can take your time to line up that first headshot and then follow up with a quick body shot for a kill. At 75 meters, it will take 2 headshots to kill your target with no nano weave or heavy shields. The most shots it will take to kill an infantry is 7.17 shots. This is assuming the target is a heavy assault with rank 5 nano weave armor that is 75 meters away. This also assumes he turns on his nanite mesh generator shield a half second before the first shot hits. I know this is a lot of data, and trust me, even I got lost wading through it when I was doing this research, so I put together this chart to condense most of this information. The graph shows the shots to kill depending on the distance you are from the target. The black line shows the shots to kill assuming all shots land on the body and the target has no nano weave or heavy shields. The red line is the shots to kill assuming all shots land on the head and the target has no nano weave or heavy shields. The Vandal has a firing rate of 255 rounds per minute, which is the standard on all semi-auto scout rifles. The rounds per minute are hard to take full advantage of on a semi-automatic weapon, because to do this, you must be able to perfectly shoot at 255 clicks per minute without oversampling, which, for anyone who is curious, is about 3.75 rounds per second. Although, this does allow for the weapon to be very spammable when necessary. But, assuming you're able to take full advantage of the rounds per minute, you would be looking at 1,420 damage per second up to 15 meters, and it would drop off from there to 1,190 damage out past that 75 meter mark. While this is a good damage model, it means that you will be easily outgunned by pretty much every other weapon. This means that to be survivable with this weapon, you need to avoid head-to-head confrontations and make sure that you have the advantage of surprise on your enemies. As far as accuracy goes, the NS-30 Vandal has a muzzle velocity of 520 meters per second, which is the lowest of all the semi-auto scout rifles. This also puts it on the lower end of velocity when compared to sniper rifles. This makes it perfect for mid-range shots. It has a very good first shot accuracy when aiming down sights, but the follow-up shots can get very off at mid-range or beyond. When shooting at mid-range, you should treat it like a battle rifle. Take 1 shot, allow for the gun to settle, and then take another shot. The gun settles very quickly, so doing this should not be a problem if you're taking someone out when they are standing still. If the target is within a 30-ish meter range, you can spam the trigger while aiming down sights and still land reliable shots on the target. While you can hipfire this weapon, it has a limited range where it is viable. I would recommend hipfiring if the target is within that 7 meter mark, and it's workable up to 10 meters, but is a little far for hipfiring when you're spamming that trigger. The weapon has a bloom of 0.6 when hipfiring, meaning that if you spam the trigger, the cone of fire will quickly expand. Although, with this weapon you should avoid hipfiring if possible, but because of the fact that you're fighting at mid-range, you will often be in situations that you need hipfire. If you are playing this weapon to its full strength, then you would be shooting people within a 20 to 60 plus meter range, and trying to avoid those close quarter confrontations. The NS30 Vandal has a magazine size of 15 rounds per mag, with another 90 rounds in reserve. This is 3 more rounds in the magazine than any of the other faction-specific semi-auto scout rifles, which is quite a decent amount of ammo, and you will not find yourself reloading often. The only problem is the 90 rounds of ammo in reserve. This is not much at all, and if you go on a long kill streak or tend to miss a lot of shots, then you'll find yourself running out of ammo. Going back to our damage model, the Vandal can take out 5 enemies with 1 mag, assuming no shots are missed and all shots land on the chest. If all the shots land on the head, the Vandal can take out 7.5 enemies before having to reload. While this is an ideal kills per magazine, you will often find yourself killing 2 to 3 people before reloading. This much surpasses most weapons in reliable kills per magazine. The offset to this is that the Vandal has a long reload time. It has a short reload of 2.6 seconds and a long reload of 3.5 seconds. This is the longest reload of all the scout rifles, and 3.5 seconds of downtime is very long in a battle. Again though, if you are playing this weapon to its full strength, you'll be keeping your distance from the enemies, and the reload should not hinder you too much or cause any deaths while reloading. The last thing to note is that the Vandal only has a 25% movement speed reduction while aiming down sights. This makes it very easy to move while scoping and plays well into its role as a mid-range weapon. As far as attachments go, the Vandal has access to scopes 1x through 6x and night vision optics. My personal preference is to run the 2x reflex or the 4x scope. If you know that you are solely going to be fighting at mid-ranges, then I would run the 4x scope. But if you are fighting at close to mid-ranges, I would run the 2x reflex. It still has enough zoom to make deadly mid-range shots, but if you are closer to the enemy, it easily adapts to take out closer targets. I mostly run the 2x reflex, and it feels fine at making those longer shots and will perform well no matter what situation I get into. The only scope I would truly avoid is the night vision optic. Between the fact that it has no zoom and the fact that you can't see infiltrators with it, it brings a lot of downsides without much benefit. When it comes to barrel attachments, the Vandal has access to the suppressor, flash suppressor, and compensator. My preference is to run no barrel attachment at all. You are moving around a lot with this weapon, so I would not worry about the flash suppressor. The suppressor is a good option if you are often behind enemy lines or are playing really aggressively. As stupid as this sounds though, I can't run the suppressor because I hate the noise it gives the Vandal. The Vandal has this great sound that echoes, and I find that the new sound with the suppressor absolutely butchers it and makes it sound horrible. But if you can get over that, it'll be great if you're fighting at closer ranges. The compensator seems pointless on this weapon, as it doesn't have too much kick to begin with. Also, the extended range that you show up on the minimap and the larger cone of fire are significant downsides to the weapon like the Vandal. For rail attachments, you can equip the dark flashlight, laser sight, or forward grip. The only one I would not recommend is the dark flashlight. The laser sight is good if you are often hip firing, and this small cone of fire is immensely useful to extend the range at which you can hip fire. My personal recommendation would be the forward grip. This allows for greater accuracy when taking quicker shots and plays very well into the strength of this weapon. If you equip the forward grip, you will see a direct benefit to your accuracy and your ability to land follow-up shots. As far as strategy with this weapon goes, the biggest thing I can say is to stay in the Vandal's ideal fighting range. This means engaging enemies somewhere between that 20 to 60 meter mark. This will allow you to easily dispatch enemies while staying far enough away so you won't be knocked around by carbines. If at all possible, stay away from head-to-head fights. I cannot stress this enough. When I played with the Vandal, the most common way I died was I would get overconfident with the Vandal's damage at range and try to take a target on head-to-head. The best thing you can do if someone's shooting at you is to run away and reposition yourself. On that same note, moving around and having a more aggressive playstyle is very complementary with this weapon. If you are constantly moving around and continue to get a unique position on the enemies, you will find this weapon working very well for you. A flash with Wraith Cloaking is very helpful in this regard. You will easily be able to get behind enemies and stay very mobile. In a lot of my gameplay here, I used a flash to get behind the main fighting and was able to go on some nice kill streaks. Lastly, I would recommend taking headshots whenever possible. As we discussed earlier, it only takes 2 headshots to kill an infantry at any range. And with a rate of fire of 255 rounds per minute, that means you can kill in under half a second if both shots land on the head. Even if you can't pull off the 2 headshots, I would recommend taking a headshot for the first shot and then pull down into the chest for the follow-up shots. Overall, I really enjoyed playing with this weapon and it felt very natural to work with. As soon as I picked it up, I was able to be very successful with it without having to learn how to use a weapon or change my playstyle. If you are a person who enjoys sniping or is able to position themselves well, then you will find this weapon working out very well for you also. If this video was helpful or enjoyable, feel free to hit that like button or tell your friends about it. And if you would like to see more videos like this or you want to help support the channel, then hit the subscribe button. This is Soapbox, signing off.